What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this segment, let's talk about whether or not the Terminator franchise is dead. And if it's not, what needs to be done to get it back on track? So let's get into this. So it's no surprise that after T2, the Terminator franchise started to take a dive. I mean, T3 was okay, but it nowhere near captured the magic of Terminator 2 or 1. Terminator 1 and 2, two different films. I think most would probably agree that T2 superior, but like I said, they're kind of like different films. Like Terminator 1 to me is more of like a thriller, science fiction, horror film. T2 is like science fiction, action, thriller. I feel like Terminator 2 is everything 1 was, just bumped up a notch. Love both films, legendary stuff. Like I said, T3 and on started to tank. The franchise started to plummet. Terminator Genisys was pretty bad. I mean, it's cool to see Arnie on screen again. It always is. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is such an icon, the greatest action hero of all time. Love seeing him in Terminator Dark Fate for the same reasons. I mean, seeing Arnie on screen as the T800, T850, whatever model he was, I'm never gonna not be happy to see Arnold Schwarzenegger back in some capacity in a Terminator film. But I think things have run their course with him, you know? How many times are they gonna pull the angle of an aged Terminator? You know, the organic aspect of him aging. They already pulled that off several times. You can't do it again. So going forward, Arnie has to probably just have cameos. Not as a Terminator. But what could be done to get the franchise back on track? I'm not really down with a reboot. I feel like trying to reboot that original story or trying to copy T2 is disrespect. You can't do it. Those are classics. Leave them alone. You got to do something fresh. You know what we haven't seen? Well, we kind of saw touches of it in Terminator Salvation. Speaking of Terminator Salvation, I actually like Salvation. I didn't think it was bad at all. I mean, it's no T1 or T2, but it wasn't a terrible movie. Liked it way better than Genisys and Dark Fate. But there was aspects of Dark Fate that I actually liked. I mean, even Genisys. I thought the T1000 in Genisys was cool. Dark Fate, the Rev 9, he was cool as well. Gabriel Luna, I like him as an actor. It's just a shame. I mean, the movie was just not done well. But getting back on track, yeah, in Terminator Salvation, we saw something that could help boost the franchise. You know what it is? A future war. There's so many stories to tell as far as like the humans versus the machines in the future. We could see John Connor taking the lead of the human resistance, epic big battles against Terminators, endoskeleton models, T800s. How badass would that be? You could certainly do a trilogy. I mean, I think in Terminator Salvation, it was set up to be a trilogy, but they just didn't follow through. I think the expectations, you know, as far as like box office, it didn't meet the standards, and they scratched that whole trilogy idea, which sucks because Christian Bale's a great actor and it was great to have him on board. But we need some fresh faces, man. Yeah, we got to get some fresh faces in there, some solid actors. You know, you got to get people in there like a Ryan Gosling, like a Chris Evans, a Chris Hemsworth. And we got to see some future war action, man. I think people would be on board with that. I think it's fresh and exciting. We've seen a lot of like fan short films, like animated short films, and it makes you think, man. It makes you think, what would a trilogy based on the future war be like? With a solid budget, with great acting, none of these goofy one-liners. Don't make it cartoony. Let's bring it back to like a little bit more seriousness, like T1 and T2. I mean, even though T2 was fun, T2 had its comedy in it, but it was done just right. It wasn't like so over the top. Either go back to the horror aspect or keep the comedy and the humor, the goofiness to like a minimum. Matter of fact, no goofiness. Saving Private Ryan style, hardcore, real acting, gritty Terminator future war film. Sign me up, take my money. Now, if they're like dead set on having like an actual Terminator, somebody to replace Arnie that's younger, okay, you can do that. But you got to do it right, and it's got to be a good actor for the role. I just mentioned someone. You could do Chris Hemsworth. He has a crazy build. He's a big guy, and he can pull it off. Not that a Terminator has to be big, but when I think of the Terminator, I think of like the T800 model, and how imposing and intimidating Arnold was. Dwayne Johnson could probably squeeze in there, but it seems like Rock rockifies everything. I don't know if you want him involved with the Terminator franchise. Overall, Dwayne Johnson's okay. I mean, I think the guy's kind of overrated. Name a great Rock movie. There's a few of them that I like. I mean, Faster was okay for what it is, but overall, like, his movies are not good. I mean, they make money in the box office based off of being PG-13, being family films, based off of promotion and hype. But I feel like The Rock is overrated as an action star. That's just my opinion. And he's so big that he has a lot of influence and input, and I think he would probably drag a Terminator movie down with dumb ideas. That's just me. But yeah, guys, I don't know what else to add. In short, Future War trilogy, I mean, done really well. Gritty, realistic, hardcore. Let's go back to the Terminator roots, science fiction, horror. Good story, good acting, none of the cheesy one-liner crap. It's got to be rated R, no PG-13 nonsense. So in closing, I'll ask you guys, what needs to be done to save the franchise? What would you like to see going forward? They could go crazy and do something like Terminator versus RoboCop. That's kind of out there, but it was based off of, I believe, these Dark Horse comics. Then you had the video games for SNES, Sega. Kind of a cool story, not gonna lie. But strictly Terminator-wise, what would you guys like to see? Is the franchise dead? Can it be revived? Thanks for watching this segment, guys. If you enjoyed it first time at the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. And I'll catch you guys on the next segment. Until then, take care.